Friday, October the 22nd, 2021 made the boxing history books. The Canadian-based Colombian Oscar Rivas became the first ever WBC Bridgerweight World Champion. There are many people who don't take this new division too seriously, as it is perceived as just another way for the WBC to make money. And as of the making of this recording, the division lacks depth of talent, which is normal given the fact that it's a brand new division in boxing. Yet moving forward, it will be very interesting how this newfound Bridgerweight division will continue to develop, because in my opinion, this new weight class opens up a lot of opportunities for fighters that might currently struggle at heavyweight and cruiserweight. And today we're talking about 5 reasons why the Bridgerweight division, which is the division that bridges the current cruiser and heavyweight division from 200 pounds to 225 pounds, is possibly a great move for the sport of boxing moving forward. Hey, what's going on? This is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer, and welcome back to Ringside Stories. Feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the content. So here are 5 reasons why, in my opinion, the Bridgerweight division will be good for boxing moving forward. Let's get into it. Number 1, Bridgerweight fireworks. For the first ever Bridgerweight world title fight between Oscar Rivas and Ryan Rozicki, boxing fans were treated to a barn burner. Although the Canadian-based Colombian won this inaugural title, the story of this fight really was Rivas' opponent, Ryan Rozicki, who put up a hell of a fight for all 12 rounds. Came on as a last-minute replacement, was not expected to do much, and given the pedigree of Oscar Rivas' amateur and pro career so far, the perception was that Rivas would walk through Ryan Rozicki. At the end of round 1, when Oscar Rivas was still fresh, he opened up with a barrage of punches that had Ryan Rozicki out on his feet, yet miraculously kept himself standing. Rozicki recovered in the next round and against all odds started to make a little bit of a comeback. Oscar Rivas, who only suffered 1 defeat in the pro ranks so far, at heavyweight against current WBC interim heavyweight title holder Dillian Whyte, again was expected by many to win this first Bridgerweight World Championship fight. Based on this fight between Oscar Rivas and Ryan Rozicki, I'm sure boxing fans wouldn't mind seeing more fights at the Bridgerweight limit, especially since this is a new division, meaning opportunities for big cruiserweight and smaller heavyweights to become a world champion. And with a potentially smaller pool of talents to work with initially, there's all the more reasons to make the best fights available. Number 2, Oscar Rivas versus Ryan Rozicki post-fight. Now we have our first Bridgerweight world champion, and the question is, what's next? Well, let's summarize. Oscar Rivas versus Ryan Rozicki was action-packed, a low-key fight of the year candidate. If anything, Oscar Rivas versus Ryan Rozicki definitely represented boxing and was the best possible fight one could wish for to fire-start a whole new division. Ryan Rozicki gave a great account of himself. His stock definitely has risen based off of this fight against Oscar Rivas, being a career cruiserweight, having to literally eat himself up to make the Bridgerweight limit, coming in at 203 pounds.
The day before the fight, I'll eat like a little bit more salt, I'll eat a little bit more carbs, and drink a little bit more water, and I'll retain probably 8 pounds, make 200 pounds. I'll probably come in like 200.1 at the weigh-ins, like just make it, and then I'll be good to go.
Definitely can come again, since more people know Ryan Rozicki for the brave effort he put on, yet will most likely go back to cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight is probably where I'm going to be. Like, this is just an opportunity that, how can you pass up a shot at a world title? Like,
as for Oscar Rivas, just like he did in his WBC heavyweight title eliminator against Dillian Whyte back in July of 2019, he showed once again how formidable and dangerous of a puncher he is on a world stage. Oscar Rivas is a crowd-pleasing, offensive-minded fighter who looks the part. I mean, he's very muscle-bound, thus has the tendency to gas, which is exactly what happened in Rivas' fight against Ryan Rozicki. So Kaboom, which is Rivas' moniker, is very exciting to watch because of the punishment he's able to dish out, much like his vulnerabilities defensively. Number 3, possible future Bridgerweights. Based off of history and stats, Deontay Wilder's best performance at heavyweight was when he came in between the 210s and 220s. As I stated in the Tyson Fury vs. Deontay Wilder 3 post-fight What's Next for Deontay Wilder episode, Deontay Wilder already is a bridgerweight. I wouldn't be surprised if Mauricio Sulaimán and the WBC had foreseen a potential Deontay Wilder loss to give the Bronze Bomber a chance at redemption in the case he would not be able to beat a way heavier Tyson Fury. Regardless of what you think, what we certainly know for a fact, Deontay Wilder's best performances were when he came in between 210 and 220 pounds. For reference, just check both Luis Ortiz's fight and the Tyson Fury 1 fight in which he dropped the Gypsy King twice and was able to go the full 12 rounds without gassing as bad as he did during Wilder vs. Fury 2, or the latest, that being Fury vs. Wilder 3. Meaning B, effectively, Deontay Wilder already is a bridgerweight. C, in my opinion, a fight against Oscar Rivas will be Deontay Wilder's best option for his comeback fight whenever that is in 2022, if indeed Deontay Wilder decides to prolong his boxing career. D, Oscar Rivas gassed just as bad as Wilder in his last fight with Tyson Fury. Given Rivas' muscle-bound physique, Rivas' slow feet, given Deontay Wilder's height and reach advantage, not only do I think the Bronze Bomber would be able to comprehensively beat Oscar Rivas, I think he would stop him. And I think this will be the best fight to prove Deontay Wilder is still world level by becoming a 2-division world champion and gaining new momentum that he can bring north should Deontay go back to heavyweight after or decide to make a career at the bridgerweight limit. The newly crowned unified heavyweight title holder Oleksandr Usyk proved how a small man should fight a big man, even though understanding Usyk's skill set, that's way easier said than done. Either way, Oleksandr Usyk already has held titles in 2 separate weight divisions and just beat an elite heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, coming in his career highest at 221 pounds, which in WBC's currency would be classified as bridgerweight. So even if Anthony Joshua would beat Usyk in their immediate rematch somewhere in 2022, Usyk could go to bridgerweight without having to drop weight and become a 3-weight world champion. Politics and business aside, imagine a matchup between Oleksandr Usyk and Deontay Wilder, both at their ideal weight for the WBC Bridgerweight World title, providing they're still close to their prime in that context. I'm sure many boxing fans would love to see Wilder versus Usyk for a world title. Then we have current cruiserweight champions Lawrence Okolie, who is making quite a name for himself right now, and former Usyk opponent Mairis Briedis. Imagine the fights you can make between formidable guys moving up from cruiserweight and guys that are a tad too small for heavyweight, certainly too small for super heavyweight. Number 4, sanctioning bodies. And so I'm convinced the bridgerweight division could actually be a division with a merit of talent coming up from cruiserweight or dropping down from heavyweight. Now at this point in time, the WBC is the first and only sanctioning body that has a bridgerweight division. However, there might be more following fairly soon. I mean, there's the obvious reason, that being money, that the existing sanctioning bodies can make, as opposed to try to ask for sanctioning fees from all these minor, regular, super, gold, interim, and franchise titles. Why wouldn't the other 3 major sanctioning bodies follow their Mexican-based counterpart? And the World Boxing Association could be first in line amidst all the mess that the WBA find itself in, with all their minor titles being forced to quote-unquote clean up its act. The oldest sanctioning body, formerly known as the NBA, dating back to 1921, might well be on his way to following in its sister organization's footsteps over a century later, being the world's 2nd major sanctioning body to open up the doors to those too small for heavyweight, inviting them right in for the newfound bridgerweight division. Number 5. Boxing fans win. Not saying politics will not play a part in this division, not saying that the money will be right, not saying that there is a guarantee this Bridgerweight will actually take off. But again, the fact that this is a new division, which invites certain fighters to fight closer to their ideal fighting weight, a division that allows sanctioning bodies to make money for legit world titles, i.e. abolish all the minor titles that are confusing and irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Just like the first ever world title fight for the Bridgerweight world title between Oscar Rivas and Ryan Rozicki proved on Friday 22nd of October 2021. If more fights in this division would follow in the footsteps, then boxing fans are in for excitement. Now, money plays a big role for the furtherment of the Bridgerweight division because Rozicki was a late-minute replacement for Rivas' initial opponent, that being Brian Jennings, who in his team's perspective would not be compensated accordingly to partake in the Rivas fight. So again, money plays a big role. However, if the division welcomes marquee fighters from both heavyweight and cruiserweight, and other major sanctioning bodies would launch their own respective Bridgerweight divisions, then eventually there will be money to be made. These are just my thoughts. Let us know yours. What do you think of the Bridgerweight division as a whole? What do you think in terms of its potential? And what are your thoughts on the first ever WBC Bridgerweight world title fight between Oscar Rivas and Ryan Rozicki? Leave a comment below and let's have a conversation. If you're new to this channel, we cover boxing and combat sports through mini documentaries, backstories, and much more. So if you enjoy that type of content, feel free to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that notification bell for the latest here on Ringside Stories. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, i.e. inspire us to make more quality content for y'all. Thanks a lot in advance and welcome to the channel. If you've done that already, you know you're awesome. We already know that you are the true undisputed world champion. Till next time, Ringsiders, this is your host, Boxing's Objective Observer with Ringside Stories. Thanks for watching and have a legendary day.